What happens when two of the biggest rivals in WWE with a dark and personal history are forced to team up for a shot at championship gold? For the past month on SmackDown, we've seen uneasy tension building between Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. After a series of stare downs and hesitant interactions, they have officially become a tag team, or at least that's what WWE wants you to think. And as a result, winning a match to represent Team SmackDown at the upcoming All-Women's Evolution 2 event. But don't let that fool you. Over the last month, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair have been trading words and stares as Bliss has locked into the idea to form a loose partnership with the Queen. Now, while speaking on the Bella Twins' Nikki and Brie show, Charlotte commented on working with Alexa. Keep in mind, this week on SmackDown, here's a spoiler, they qualify. So what's going to happen is Alexa and Charlotte are going to be a team. They are going to be competing in the Fatal 4-Way match that will involve Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending the Women's Tag Team Championships against a team from Raw, NXT, and obviously Bliss and Charlotte Flair being on SmackDown. Okay, this is interesting. And I am going to get to the history between Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair in one moment. But I want to read to you guys what Charlotte had to say about Alexa Bliss because I think it's very, very interesting. I call her Blister. We have so much history coming up from NXT, the main roster. We've been in partial feuds, but we've never long ongoing one. To see where this is going and being back with her, it's fun. It's natural. We have chemistry. Now, this brought up Nikki Bella noting that Charlotte and Alexa have had good stare downs, which is an interesting comment, but whatever. And Charlotte had this to say: Lexi is good. She's still mad at me for tearing up her Lilly doll a couple of years ago. Keep in mind that Charlotte ripped up the Lilly doll in 2023. Now let's get into their history. Their history. The history between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss dates back to their formative years in NXT. They first crossed paths in a high-stakes tournament for the vacant NXT Women's Championship in May of 2014. In the semi-final round, a still-developing Charlotte Flair defeated a rookie in Alexa Bliss, who was then using a cheerful, glittery, fairy-type gimmick. It was weird, it didn't fit. Whatever, we moved on. Now, Charlotte Flair, she would go on to win this tournament, capturing the first championship of her illustrious and really just dominant, successful career in WWE, setting the stage for a future main roster encounters. Their history. The history between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss dates back to their formative years in NXT. They first crossed paths in a high-stakes tournament for the vacant NXT Women's Championship in May of 2014. In the semi-final round, a still-developing Charlotte Flair defeated a rookie in Alexa Bliss, who was then using a cheerful, glittery, fairy-type gimmick. It was weird, it didn't fit. Whatever, we moved on. Now, Charlotte Flair, she would go on to win this tournament, capturing the first championship of her illustrious and really just dominant, successful career in WWE, setting the stage for a future main roster encounters. Let's kick it back. 2017, first main roster feud, champion versus champion. Their first significant conflicts on the main roster took place at Survivor Series 2017, a pay-per-view event centered around brand supremacy. In a classic champion versus champion match, the then Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss went one-on-one with the SmackDown Women's Champion and Charlotte Flair. This match was a hard-fought battle that showcased both of their abilities, but it was Charlotte who came out on top, forcing Bliss to submit to the figure 8 leg lock. This victory established Charlotte's dominance in their early head-to-head encounters on the main roster. 2021, the personal war over Lilly. The most personal and memorable feud between these two occurred in the fall of 2021. At the time, Alexa Bliss was deep into her supernatural character, accompanied by her creepy Lilly doll. Now, Bliss began targeting the Raw Women's Champion. The storyline was built around the psychological warfare. Charlotte Flair mocked Bliss's gimmick, calling her weak and childish for hiding behind a doll. Now, this feud led to a match at the Extreme Rules Premium Light event, and after a competitive match, Charlotte defeated Alexa to retain the championship. However, The most significant moment happened after the match in a display of ultimate disrespect. Charlotte picked up the Lilly doll and methodically ripped it to shreds in the middle of the ring. This act triggered a complete emotional breakdown from Alexa Bliss, who was shown screaming and crying inconceivably at a moment. She tried to gather the remains of her destroyed friend. The segment was a pivotal moment meant to send Bliss's character into an even darker direction and created a deep personal animosity between the two that has not been forgotten. Look, they've been building towards this. They've been building towards a Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss partnership, an alliance, if you will, and I'm okay with it. I really, really am, because you got to keep in mind where these two are coming from. They're coming from situations that probably in their own minds, not necessarily the greatest, right? Let's look at Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, since returning to WWE and whatever, what was it, February this year that Royal Rumble was in? That weird, usually it's like the last week in January and they pushed it back to the first weekend of February. And so WWE was like, hey, we have Alexa Bliss. We're going to bring her back, and we don't have anything for her in Phase for Life. Okay, well, this is crap. What are we doing here? And so ever since then, she's been on this start and stop kind of push, and it's been really, really annoying for WWE fans and Alexa Bliss fans, because it's like, hey, we know what we get in Alexa Bliss. We know that we love this woman. She's great. She looks the part. She adds the part. We want to see her succeed. And WWE's like, yeah, well, we don't know what we want to do with her just yet. And fans are like, what are we doing here? It's frustrating because she's on TV, she's off TV, she's on TV, she's off TV. It's just an annoying cycle that goes on and on and on. And then you flip over, all right? You get the remote, or you swipe left, right? And you go over to Charlotte Flair. And you look at Charlotte Flair and you go, hey, what can we do with this character? She returns from injury. She wins the Women's Royal Rumble. She's pushed right into the main event scene. Shocker. They try to bring her back as a babyface. The fans have no interest whatsoever in seeing a babyface Charlotte Flair, right? They want that heel Charlotte Flair. They want that queen Charlotte Flair. And so they opt to go with the dream match, a match in which WWE fans have been talking about, Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton have been talking about. Hey, we want to see Charlotte Flair step into the squared circle, go one-on-one with Tiffany Stratton, and that's exactly what they gave you. And at the end of the day, is that a good thing? Yes, because we got it. Not only do we get it for the Women's Championship, but we also got it at WrestleMania. And going into it, a lot of fans were saying, well, Charlotte Flair, of course, is going to go over. They wouldn't have Tiffany Stratton go over the Queen. And I go, I would not be so naive. I think there's a realistic possibility. Charlotte Flair just turned 40, y'all. She's not a spring chicken anymore. Not to say that she can't still go in the ring. She absolutely can. She's one of the best in-ring technicians ever. But at the same time, you do have to start moving forward with your talent. And Tiffany Stratton, unlike Charlotte Flair, is going to be here for the next 5-10 years, and doing so at a very, very high level. And in turn, not only is she going to draw you money and interest, but at the same time, when you have younger up-and-coming talent, whether they're on the main roster now, they're in NXT, or they will be signed in the future, that is how you are going to be able to churn and create new stars. And so you need a Tiffany Stratton, right? You have to build up new talent. In WWE, AEW, pro wrestling in general, talent is your lifeline. It is your bloodline. It is your source to continue to create a product. And without talent, and so here's the thing, more importantly, the number one thing, you can have horrific storylines, you can have bad matches, you can have bad promotional skills. As a promoter, as a promotion, as a company, you need top tier stars. You need stars that fans are willing to pay money to see, or tune into your program, or buy your pay-per-view event to see. You need stars. You don't need just talent. You need actual, real deal stars. And that is what Tiffany Stratton is going to be able to help WWE with in the future, just like a Charlotte Flair has been able to help younger talent out. Now, she's not the greatest at it. That's just frank, right? But in Tiffany Stratton's case, she was already the champion. She was already made. You can make the argument Bayley and Nia Jax did more for her in terms of building up her star power and her credibility and her reputation than Charlotte Flair did by doing the honors at WrestleMania. That's just the fact of the reality of the situation. So that's what I think of Charlotte Flair. That's what I think of Alexa Bliss. That is what I think about the Charlotte Flair-Alexa Bliss pairing. And I think as long as you can continue to do that and you can build an interesting storyline around them and book them in interesting segments and put them over and continue to develop them and have them seem like they are riding the momentum wave, well, I think you're going to be in really, really good hands. And I look forward to seeing what WWE is able to do with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, not only on television as individual characters, but more importantly, what WWE is going to be able to do with them together as a tag team. Something to keep in mind going forward. Let me know down in the comments there below. What do you think about the pairing with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss? Do you like this idea? Are they going in the wrong direction? Let me know.